All right, y'all boys, we back with another video. So today we are going to be going over the newest character that's going to be the Honored Team Gojo. So basically what we're going to be talking about is, how to play the character and the most optimal build and team for the character. Now, obviously he's peak Gojo, deadass. Honored Team Gojo has the most stacked out kit I've ever seen. Has like literally disgusting multipliers, revives, damage scaling on top of damage scaling. So since this kit is so fucking long, I'll try my best to compress it as much as possible, but there is quite a lot to talk about. So let's start with his skill 3. His skill 3 has 3 phases. First, it will only increase your ult gauge charge rate and grant you immunity for 3 turns. But then once you have 1168 ultimate gauge, it will change into an ultimate skill. By using 1168 ult gauge, you can enter the honored mode for 8 turns and get ultimate charge rate increased again. Now, phase 3 is while you're in honored mode, this skill changes to a self buff, which gives 60% damage increase for 3 turns, counter status, and increases his own ultimate gauge charge rate, right? So overall, that's already really good, gives him a lot more damage, can allow him to counter, and obviously he's still going to be able to stack his ult as quickly as possible. Then we have his skill 2. So his skill 2 is basically like Domain Gojo's skill 3, Curse Technique Reversal Red. This is going to deal 650% single target damage, while in Honored mode, it does 750%. What makes it slightly different is that it stacks cores, right? It stacks only one, which we're going to go into shortly. Then you have your skill 1. It's also pretty much the same as the blue technique as Domain Gojo. It debuffs the enemies. Only difference is that it's single target outside of honored mode. During honored mode, it is AoE and literally has the same it's literally the same as Domain Gojo's skill 2. Now, his ultimate, which obviously is going to be important, can only be used when you're in honored mode, and it's going to deal 1,800% single target damage, and then after using it, it removes your honored mode and all core stats, but gives you up to 50% ultimate charge rate. So you're going to be able to charge your ult very rapidly after that. Now, you also have your passive skills. So he does have the limitless passive, however, only a limited amount of turns, like unlike the other Gojos. And he does not leave, so that is very important to the character. And then you have your cores. So the cores which he stacks his skill 2 give him a 35% increased Jujutsu stat, and he can stack up to 8 cores for a total of 210% Jujutsu buff. So that is curse buff. And when he is normal, he has a chance to revive. Right, so you have the cores right here. When he is normal, he does have the chance to revive, and then during his honored mode, his revive disappears, but he gets an evasion chance of 20% and attack immunity for 1 turn when he gets low HP. Now, the question you're probably asking me after knowing his entire kit and seeing that it does have a lot of intricacies inside of it to actually make this character functional, and I'm basically going to tell you how you play this character. I think it's safe to say that you don't use your skill 3 during phase 1, because even though you charge your ult rapidly, you still want to stack up your cores, so you're still going to be essentially delayed in a sense. So you're going to be spamming basically your skill 2 for the first few turns. Some people like to use skill 3 on turn 4 so they can get to his honored mode by turn 6. Then optimally, you want to combo ult with 2 of your characters when entering honored mode. Since it's a buff, he will activate it first most of the time. So what I mean is, once you get your first 1168, I believe it was, ultimate gauge, and you have the honored mode, you want to combo it with another ult on your team, so that way you can get that ult charge rate, and then you're obviously going to get ult from obviously combo ulting, so that's going to be very nice. Now, during your honored mode, you just start spamming his skill 2 again until you get to 8 cores. Then you self-buff 2 times and then nuke with your ult. And then you just start repeating the rotation, of course, when you're doing all this with the character. We're going to be talking about his best teams and his best recollections. So first up, let's talk about the best recollection. The best recollection by far is going to be his banner recollection. It's going to give you a 95% Jujutsu damage increase for green types. That's literally the highest we've seen on so far on any recollection. Alternatively, you just run the usual. So you can just obviously run non-standard, of course, or even Pride. There is a few others like, of course, Shopping Tour and the new Takuma Recollection. But yeah, I feel like those other 3 that we just mentioned are probably the best bet. And obviously, Pride is a free-to-play recollection, so everybody should have it, right? Now for your best teams, right? His best partners are most likely going to be Team Shoko and Team Geto. As you can see, we do have Team Geto here, but we don't have Shoko just yet. So obviously he's not on the team. Now, it's pretty obvious she's probably going to be his best partner just based off of what she does and the survivability she's going to be able to give your team. Additionally, for buffers, kind of characters like, SSR Momo or, Domain Megami, right? He benefits the most from like damage dealt buffers since his cores already give him a shit ton of curse technique buffs. So you can kind of just already like stack on top of that. For higher tower floors, you can like throw in, SR Kaido on the team. SR Kaido and Teen Shoko will be most likely a must to have a combo to guarantee sustain and survivability in the 60 plus floors, right? So obviously, these are going to be a lot of the characters that you're going to be using: Teen Geto, Momo, Domain Megami, and then the SR Kaido. And then obviously, there's going to be a couple other good options, but yeah, ignore the Yaga that's here. We don't care about the Yaga. Yaga boosts curse and physical, but you don't need to worry about that since Gojo is going to be buffing so much of that himself. So now that we're done talking about obviously his skills, his kit, his rotations, his teams, the recollections you want to use on this character, now I'm going to kind of give you my ultimate final review on how I feel about the character overall. Now, he's kind of like a slow starting monster who becomes arguably the strongest DPS mid to late fight. He's very untraditional and definitely takes some time to get used to compared to other DPS characters in the game. If you don't understand his core stacking system or you mismanage your buffs, he'll definitely underperform compared to other characters since the other characters are more simple. You need to rotate him properly and kind of understand how to front load before honored mode so that way you can get your cores, etc. It is very different from brain dead characters like, Gojo, mainly Gojos, because Gojos are very simple, aside from this one, or Sukuna, who is just, buff, ult, and then, win. He kind of reminds me a little bit from a past character where this past character was obviously mistreated because people didn't understand how to play him properly. The character that I'm talking about is obviously Zonji. This is, people just didn't understand how he worked and they used him wrong and then judged him as bad or not good enough. But I'd say at that time before Sukuna, he was by far the best DPS. And I said it when he released, he was the best DPS, but people didn't believe it. But that's why I feel about this character. Very powerful, very strong. He just requires actual playing and actual thinking to make sure that you weave him properly into, the content that you're trying to tackle while also dealing damage, surviving, all that good stuff. But yeah, he does a ton of damage compared to other characters. Even at A0, he's out DPSing a lot of A5 characters in the green department. So yeah, he's definitely very powerful. He's just a slow starter, but once you get him going, it's pretty much GG for whoever the hell you're fighting. But yeah, anyways, that's basically going to be my review on the character. Showcase video is going to be coming for him, so be sure to check that out. And we're going to be using Honor Gojo at his absolute best potential while clearing the hardest content in the game, just to show you how powerful he is compared to so many other characters. Anyways, I appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.